What's up, YouTube? How you doing? Great to see you. Thanks for joining me today for this special workshop, this special presentation which I've put on for you, which is called How to Transform Your Playing, Your Sax Metamorphosis. So, I'm going to teach you how to turn from little hairy, ugly caterpillars into beautiful butterflies, musically speaking. Okay, now, if you can hear me loud and clear, it's always reassuring for somebody just to drop me a quick note in the old chatteroony. I can see that people are already here from all over the place, so welcome to you all. I'm going to respect your time today and crack straight on, but, hi to Verlaine, Danny, Richard, hi from Iceland, wicked. We've got Bob here from Croatia, Stu's here from Maryland. And who else have we got? Good old Larry Katz, your friend and mine. Jeff Gerber's here from Austin, Texas. Linda is here. Loads of people here from all over the place. Sorry if I haven't mentioned your name. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through my presentation for you, teach you some really valuable stuff which is going to help transform how good you can get on saxophone. And then I've got a little performance for you, and we've got a Q&A section where you can ask me anything you want saxophone related, and I will do my very best to field your inquiries. Let me just fine tune my lighting here for a second. Sorry about that. And yes, because you're at this workshop, I've got a really, really special, cool opportunity for you to take your playing to the maximum level. So yes, there will be a pitch today. So buckle up. Okie dokes. What we got? Hey to everybody else. I take it. All right, you can all hear me. Okay, fantastic. Great. Good stuff. Let's have a round of applause for that. Yay. Okay. Right, let's go. So unless there's anything else, which I don't think there is, I'm just going to jump behind the screen and run through how you can practice less and improve faster. Should we do it? Shall we do it? Let's do it, guys. Okay, folks, let's get started, and let's kick off with a whopper of a light bulb moment, because I'm here to tell you that you can practice less and improve faster. Not a gimmick. That's right, sax fans, if you feel stuck and you can't seem to make much progress, it's all because of what and how you're practicing. So breathe a sigh of relief. Your shortcomings are not due to some imagined lack of intrinsic talent. Okay, now, just as an ugly, hairy caterpillar can transform into a beautiful butterfly, you can transform your sax playing into something beautiful. You just need the right info from a trusted source, and ta-da! That's exactly why you're here, to get the right information from a trusted source. Now, whenever I take private students and I ask them how long they practice for, I'm invariably gobsmacked at how much time people are putting in comparison to their skill on sax. Now, please don't get me wrong. I don't mean this to be derogatory in any way whatsoever. Look, I love you guys, and that is why this topic is so important. In today's world, almost everyone is time crunched, even retired people, especially retired people. Just ask Larry. So you need to know that your time input into your hobby results in a proportional output of success. Which is why what and how you practice is so important. And if you keep watching to the end of this workshop and implement what you learn, I promise you, you will be able to practice less and improve faster. And just imagine what's possible for you once that happens. Here are some of the butterfly-esque transformations you'll enjoy if you soak up the information right to the end of this workshop. So, better tone. Your tone will be more rich and full. You won't have to worry about embarrassing squeaks in bands or stress about your low notes never coming out and your palm keys sounding thin and weedy. Any of this sounding familiar. This will really improve your confidence when you perform. Improved technique. Who doesn't want better technique? Your facility on the instrument will dramatically improve. This means you'll be able to play more fluently across the whole horn and tackle and enjoy a much wider range of music, which will really keep you stimulated and engaged each day. No more hacking through the same tired old songs and licks anymore. And guess what? When you can play faster, you can play more scales, more exercises, more etudes in exactly the same amount of practice time. So the benefits kind of compound. So you'll improve at a faster and faster rate as you improve. Now that is a very, very cool thing. So I created a whole program, Phrase Like a Pro. It's not what we're here for today, but I created it to address this important issue because it's so important. The important issue being phrasing, more pro-sounding phrasing. It's so vital. By the end of this workshop, you'll know how you can start incorporating proper phrasing and articulation into everything you play, making all your solos sound more convincing and emotional. Better improvised solos. So no matter what genre you're performing in, you're going to learn how to maximize your practice time so when it's your turn to stand up and take a solo in your band, you really shine and you can express yourself over any song. No more aimless, flatland noodling. When you improvise, you'll be able to play some proper, pro-sounding phrases that will make your audience sit up and take notice. Improved rhythm and groove. Okay, quick show of hands. Put your hands up if you consider rhythm and groove to be a weak area in your sax playing. I know I can't see you, but I'm literally picturing a forest of hands across the world right now. Okay, so drop me a little note in the chat if you need to improve your rhythm and groove. Now, if you watch to the end of this workshop, you're going to learn how the way that you practice can start improving this vital area of your musicianship, and you won't keep drifting off out of time with the band or with your backing track when you're playing your favorite songs. I can see some hands waving. That's funny. Okay, yeah, it's a common problem. So do you ever get that feeling of not really knowing what you should be doing when you practice? So you end up just noodling on stuff you already know for half an hour and getting super distracted before you realise that you haven't really done anything. Yeah, that's going to end. You'll learn exactly what to do to the minute, why you're doing it, and what result it's going to have. And much more. You're going to learn loads of cool stuff. And guess what? There are countless other hidden benefits in store for you, like improving your ear, building your confidence, and discovering new music, not to mention making the lives of your nearest and dearest so much more pleasurable. Come on, admit it. How many of you have a partner that complains about your practice or even has to walk the dog when you get going? Let me know in the chat if your partner complains about your practice. It's a tragedy, but it does happen. Right, now then, make sure you stay to the end. Before we steam into the material, I want you to make a commitment to stay to the end of today's workshop. Not only is there transformational information right until the end, including this awesome open Q&A where you can ask me anything, but to show you how much I appreciate you joining me today and committing to improving your playing, I've also got an exclusive offer. That's right, folks. There's a good old-fashioned plug coming later, but you knew that anyway, right? You're going to learn how you can join the friendliest saxophone community online at an absolute no-brainer price, and more importantly, how that membership is the inner circle can 10x everything you're about to learn today. And if nothing else, I'll even play something for you after this presentation, so hopefully that'll be worth the wait, if nothing else. So turn off all your distractions now. I invite you to do so. Close the door, put your phone on Do Not Disturb, and tell people you won't be available for a while. There's information coming up right to the end that can literally transform how much you can improve and how much saxophone can change your life. you could miss one tip that can really move the needle for you if you get distracted. I know the modern world is one big distraction, but try and tune in, give it your full attention, because, no BS, this stuff can really change your life. So, I'm sure you all know me by now, but just in case, I'm pro saxophonist Jamie Anderson. I've been a full-time pro saxophonist performing all around the world since 1995, as well as my own original material. I have performed with the likes of Frankie Valli, Shaka Khan, by the way, that's Nile Rodgers from Chic to my left. The Temptations, this is a tour we did with the Four Tops as well, and that's me at London's O2 Arena. Not a very good photo, but I was there. Incognito, that's me at the legendary Blue Note Club in Tokyo, playing with Incognito. Joan Armour Trading, this was taken at Soundcheck at the Albert Hall. And I'm sure some of you know that I play, record and tour with Wet Wet Wet, whose hit Lovers All Around was the second ever longest #1 in the UK. Pretty insane. And on top of that, there's decades of live gigging. In fact, just the other day, I was clearing out the loft and I found a box with a few of my passes and laminates. There's a lot of memories there and, more importantly, a lot of on-stage experience. Every laminate you're looking at there is a lesson learned on stage, and I'm here to share it with you. I've also done my fair share of high-end sessions over the years, including my sax solo and Tim Deluxe's remix of Love Story, which at this time has had over 13 million plays on Spotify alone, never mind radio play and other digital platforms. So what I thought we could do is have a little brief blast of that for you, so you can check me out. So that's little old me on Love Story versus Finally. So what else have we got? That was cool, man, that solo. Right, anyway, despite how privileged I've been to blow my horn in some of the world's most iconic venues with some of the world's greatest artists, not to mention West End gigs and things like that. Actually, the thing I'm most proud of is being able to take all that experience and knowledge and through Get Your Sax Together, distill it into the focused teaching that's helped millions of you guys blow better solos, understand how to get a proper sax tone, improve your technique, and give you much more fulfillment in your life through your favourite hobby. 8.5 million of you have watched my lessons on YouTube, with daily comments flooding in of people like you reporting how their saxophone playing has been helped. And by the way, that equates to about 70 years of continuous global watch time, which is pretty insane. So honestly, that's so humbling, and every day I'm so grateful I've been able to translate the things that I love about sax into lessons that you can understand and implement. So thank you for watching, and I'm glad I've been able to help. Right, on we go. You've seen the glamorous side of my career, but I did not appear out of the womb as a pro saxophonist, folks. Big spoiler there. So quick bit of Jamie lore here for you. The truth is, my early days of playing were more like a dumpster fire in musical terms. And if you don't believe me, I'll get my mum to confirm that right for you. I was an ugly caterpillar, for sure. So you can see a cute wee Jamie there, probably about 9 or 10, I think I was. But what you can't hear are the noises that used to come out of that clarinet. Let's put it this way. We didn't need paint stripper when it was time to redecorate. I had a terrible teacher who fell asleep in lessons, if you could call them that. And he also forgot to tell me to, or he probably didn't forget, he omitted to tell me to tongue each note, even after 2 years of playing. Right. Now check out that for a strong look, folks. 1986, baby. 1986, gotta love it. Honestly, that's the most embarrassing photo of me I've ever seen. I don't really know what's worse, the glasses or the sleeveless top. Or maybe that weird rag around my neck. Well, it's absolutely insane. Anyway, things got marginally better when I got a new teacher and then switched to sax at about 12 or 13. But my teacher was a classical clarinetist. You know where this is going. And you can see that in my pinched tight embouchure there. I still didn't know anything about jazz or anything about getting a good sax sound. I still hadn't found someone who knew anything about saxophone, and honestly, it was a real struggle. Right, I'm just kind of laughing at the comments a little bit there. So I must admit, the needle moved a bit more when I joined Richard Michael's Fife Youth Jazz Orchestra. That's me with the Fife Youth Jazz Orchestra. It was pretty tough at first, and you know, if any of you get nervous when you're playing, I was terrified of standing up and taking a solo, honestly. But after just being forced to do it again and again, and then off the back of some really cool jazz summer schools, I got a bit more confident with my improvising. In fact, I even managed to get the odd local gig. Right, brace yourself for this next slide. Oh my god. That suit. Wow, that suit. Double-breasted white suit. Oh my god, I was ridiculously nerdy. But, you know, if I can do it, you can do it too. So at this point, I was quite confident. But the recordings from this period, truth be told, prove that I was doing loads of lip scoops, the dreaded wows. You know them. My solos are really noodly and unfocused, and I had quite a thin, weedy tone. So I still needed that teacher that understood sax, and I was still struggling with many of the things that I'm guessing you struggle with. For example, insecure tone, lack of groove, thin high notes. Anybody ringing any bells? Trouble with subtone, solos that don't sound melodic, you know, all that stuff. Larry reckons I look like Sonny in that photo. He will not be pleased to hear that. Let me tell you. I won't tell him you said that, Larry. Okay. But somehow, even though I did actually stack getting into the music conservatory I wanted, which Jasmine will never let me forget, I got a place to study at City University, and I got my sax lessons at the Guildhall School of Music. Finally! Teachers who actually understood saxophone and knew how to teach it. And guess what? A couple of years later, I was playing not in the Fife Youth Jazz Orchestra, but in the National Youth Jazz Orchestra, making money from gigs, and I was actually runner-up in the televised Young Jazz Musician of the Year that you can see me in there, looking very young. But you know what else really multiplied my success at that point? Community. Community. The community. It's invaluable having people to bounce off, share with, and feel connected to. Going it alone, like I was when I was in Scotland, was no fun whatsoever. And guess what? My daughter Jasmine, who some of you know, who's currently doing jazz vocals in her first year at the Guildhall School of Music in London, is saying the exact same thing. Now that she's in an amazing community of musicians, her progress has been exponential. I did a gig with her the other night. It's insane because she's in the right gang. Plus, it's so much more fun being with like-minded musicians, you know, who really get you. So, like I said, if I can do it, you can do it too. You just need the right map to follow and the right people to follow it with. So, what's the moral of this story then? Well, it's quite simple. I wasn't getting anywhere fast until I had the right knowledge about what to practice and how to practice it. And then after that, with some hard work, of course, after lots of hard work, I was off to the races. And guess what? If I can do it, you can do it too. You got this, guys. You can do it too. You just need the right map to follow and the right people to follow it with and a bit of hard work. I mean, nobody can practice for you. We can't do that. So now the stage is set and you're full of a renewed optimism that rapid improvement really is possible for you. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's do this. So First of all, let's remind ourselves what we're going to come away with today. All this that you can see. But first of all, I'm going to cunningly reshuffle the order. So now you can see that you start with a great practice routine and real focus, which enables you to improve your tone, technique, and improv. And through the way you're improving those things, your rhythm and phrasing will improve as a result. So let's dive in. And I must warn you, I'm going to be smashing through these points at quite a rate. So feel free to watch the replay and make your own notes or take screenshots. But I'm going to move much faster than I ever would in one of my online courses like Phrase Like a Pro, Improv Mastery, or whatever. And while we're on the topic, please understand that what I'm sharing today is information to show you what's possible for your sax playing, how you can improve. I know you're intelligent enough to realise that I can't possibly get super granular with every bit of information in such a short time. You're not dumb, you get that. However, the insights you're about to learn will provide you with everything you need as a framework to slot in the details and start improving faster. Okay, so here we go. We're starting with structure and focus. I'm just going to come out there for a second and say hello, and just to reassure you that I am actually here. It's all good. And thank you to everybody who's commenting. All the people who are getting pissed off have already left, so goodbye to you. You're always going to get the haters. So thank you from wherever you are around the world. You can see people from Germany, Texas. It's really, quite amazing. I just talked about the community aspect, and the community that we've got here is awesome. So kudos to you guys. Thank you very much for joining me. If it's okay with you, I'm going to have one quick sip of water, and then we'll get on with the nitty gritty, shall we? All right. Get on with it, Jamston. Get on with it, Jamston. So, structure and focus. First of all, we're going to flip the bullet and start with focus, and then fill in the structure. So, first, schedule your practice time as you would a dentist's appointment, for example. If it's appropriate, tell your nearest and dearest that you're practicing, agree all that stuff up front, and then put it in your calendar and stick to it, just like an appointment. If you leave it to chance, it probably will not happen. So once you're in the practice room, turn off all distractions like phones and take a few deep breaths and really get in the zone. This is really important. Treat your practice sessions as precious time for you to be with your music and with your horn. This is not the time or place to fret about bills or relationships or anything else. Believe me, those things will be there before, and they'll definitely be there after your practice. And there's nothing you can do about any of it when you practice. So make an effort to let it go. Let it go. Let it go. If it helps, remember that if you're a better saxophonist, your whole life will be better, literally. And also, your nearest and dearest, the people in your life, will also recognize that your life is better and their life will be better. It's all good, man. Okay, follow the plan. Before you play a note, get your practice planner out. I'm going to show you that in a minute. And make sure you know what you're going to be working on and for how long. When you start each segment of your practice, start a countdown timer and stop practicing that segment when the alarm goes off. Even if you haven't finished it, you got to follow the plan. Trust in Jamie, because I know it might feel weird, but if you start going down rabbit holes, you're going to be lost. So make sure you're not pissing your time away noodling a bunch of nonsense. Unless you just want to noodle a bunch of nonsense, that's fine, but you won't improve fast in less time. That's all. Cause and effect. Okay. Be detailed and specific. So for each drill you practice in your session, don't try and make it up yourself. Don't try and reinvent the wheel, or reinvent the wheel, but it's cause and effect. The most effective way of improving is like this. So if you're doing an exercise from one of my courses, for example, make sure that you follow the method exactly. Don't just don't just sort of vibe it your own way. The details are super important when it comes to sax playing, especially in the early segments of the practice session when you work on tone and technique. So, if I say practice overtones like this, and I'm going to show you how to practice overtones in a minute, do it exactly like that. If I say practice scales like this, do it exactly like I say. I can't tell you how many people are sabotaging potential improvements in their playing by ignoring specific instructions. I know it's a bit schoolmastery, but, you know, I'm your teacher. So get out of your yeah, but mindset. And especially if you're how can I put this? If you're a more mature student, at the risk of genre typing, I guess actually not genre typing, at the risk of gender typing, sorry. I have to say, this is especially true for men. Stop thinking so much. Stop being so, analytical and yeah, but. Just follow the plan. Okay, so I don't want to trigger anybody's childhood dramas, etc. But listen, just do as you're told. Do it exactly like I tell you to do it. If you're intellectually challenging everything you're told and you think you know better, you're never going to get anywhere. That's just how it is. That is just how it is. So, quick point on that. When I went to do my postgraduate degree in jazz and studio music at the Guildhall, the director of the big band was Scott Stroman, who's absolutely fantastic, and he's big on the details. So we started the year as a ragtag bunch of, renegade mavericks all doing it our own way. But Scott was really, really hot on the phrasing. In fact, he's still teaching now. He's still teaching, directing bands that my daughter Jasmine is, which makes me feel really old. Anyway, he was big on the details, and he said, right, you got to do it like this. You're going to cut off on that beat. Everyone's going to play that one short. Everyone's going to play that one long. And, we followed the plan. We followed his instructions. And guess what? That band sounded insane because nobody was just making it up their own way. We were all in a team. We were following the plan from somebody who we really trusted. And that mentorship has stuck with me throughout my whole career. So now when I play in a horn section, somebody, a very well-known trumpet player, came up to me the other day and said that they loved the way I played in a section. And it's all because way back in those years, Scott Stroman showed us exactly how to play tight in a horn section. So, this isn't just a theoretical notion. If you follow the plan and you follow the instructions exactly, it's really going to work for you. I promise you. All right. Since the dawn of time, people have been learning instruments by mindfully repeating simple drills. So, just get out your head. Get out your head and do it. Learning sax should be more of a Zen activity than anything else. So just embrace, that meditative aspect of it. I love just practicing the simple stuff slowly. It's something you can just relax into each day. It's awesome. Now, be patient and be kind to yourself, okay? So here's an important fact. This process is long-term, which seems contradictory as I'm teaching how to improve faster. But improving faster is a relative term. You won't see much progress in a day, but in a month, your playing will be much improved. And in just a year, it'll be utterly transformed, but you must have a little bit of patience in the process. And also, don't beat yourself up and avoid trying to get frustrated if you can't do something. Saxophone's difficult, all right? And believe me, you won't be able to do anything when you start practicing this way. So just get over it. It's just going to be a constant parade of not being able to do stuff to begin with. That's how it is. It's part of the process. If it's vanity practice you want to do, look, just play the songs you already know, the way you already know how to play them. And hey, by the way, that's totally cool. Have fun, but you won't improve faster like I'm describing. All right? Now, I know that I'm not sitting here teaching you how to play 2-5-1s right now, which is what most people want to see on the internet. But believe me, this is the game-changing stuff, all right? Play things slowly and correctly a lot. I probably could have saved you a lot of time and effort actually in this presentation. Just put those words on screen and, the end. Play things slowly and correctly a lot. Jamie Anson, 2025. Let's do it. But as a general rule, for each thing you practice it correctly and use a metronome to make sure that you're doing it in time. That's one of the things that's going to feed into your rhythm being better. Like I said, remember I said you'd improve your rhythm. Okay, if you make a mistake, isolate. This is really important, okay? So listen up. If you make a mistake, isolate that mistake, work on it more slowly, and then incorporate it back into the routine. Don't keep going back to the start of whatever it is you're doing, thinking that maybe this time is the time you'll get it right. You're wasting your time, okay? Now, I'll give you a little demonstration because this is a really important thing. So let's say, for the sake of argument, right, you want to practice your C major scale. What could be easier, right? Let me demonstrate for you how almost everybody practices their C major scale. And I'm going to do it full range of the horn, all right? Here we go. Here's your typical student. All right, familiar, right? So then what do? You think, oh no, I muffed up the palm keys. Let's get it again. This time, I'm going to get it right. Oh, man. This time, I know I can do it. Oh, so close. I can definitely get it this time. I've done it before. This is so frustrating. Congratulations. You have just wasted your practice time. So what you want to do instead is you want to isolate the problem area and you want to work on that slowly until you can do it. So you want to go like this instead. I can never get my neck strap the right height. And if you think that was a lot of repetitions, that's probably a tenth of how many times I would do it. And each time you repeat it, just try and be more relaxed, more mindful, more in the zone, more aware of how your fingers are moving, more economic, more accurate. And you do that with the metronome. Then you slowly speed it up until you can do it faster, obviously. And you should also practice it the other way on the front key. And only then do you join it up. So sometimes you just need to see someone practice the right way to understand how to practice the right way. Because I don't think people get it. I don't think people get what pro musicians do to get brilliant, because it's that, all right? It's that. Pro musicians don't go into a practice room and go, they just don't. We're going, Ed wants to know if you can see my hands. Okay, look, I'll stand up and do a repetition so you can see my hands, okay? Now, for my money, looking in my computer monitor screen, my fingers were moving far too much. So it's something that's something that I would work on. So there you go. Super important point, guys. Right, play things slowly and correctly a lot. Right, let's move on. Fun fact. You get better at saxophone when you're asleep at night, not in the practice room. Paul's saying how my fingers stick to the keys. You should see Sunny Stick or Bird. The replay of this video will be available for a short time, by the way, Eva. When you sleep, your brain will file the motor pattern information from that day and start to make it more permanent. If you constantly fluff things, that is what your brain will file how to do it wrong. If you practice things wrong, your brain is fantastic at making sure that you keep doing it wrong for good, because that's what you've been practicing. So don't get better and better at being wrong. I'm going to say that one more time. Don't get better and better at being wrong. Play things slowly and carefully and isolate the tricky corners. That's the secret of faster progress. Pause for effect. Okay, that covers some important points on how you practice. Let's now move on to what you practice. Now, I'm not going to distract you with a bunch of other links, but later on you can go to getyoursax together.com/plan. You can download my free PDF practice wall planner. So I know that there's some people in the inner circle who have got that exact wall planner blown up on the back of their practice door or whatever, and I would highly encourage you to do so. Alrighty, now your available practice time is going to be divided up by percentage, not actual minutes. So work this out ahead of time and set timers for each segment. Like I said, really important. So to keep it simple for today, let's just say that your practice session is 60 minutes. Okay, it might be more, might be less, doesn't matter. You divide up the same sort of proportion. So the first 10% of your time will be on warm-up and tone. For a 1 hour session, that would be 6 minutes. That's not a lot, which is why you have to be focused. Take a few conscious breaths to center and focus your breathing, and work on a couple of exercises if you have total tone mastery. Then you can work a little bit on how low you can go, my mouthpiece drill. I'm going to demo that in a sec. The exercises can be found in the free planner PDF and more extensively in Total Tone Mastery. Many of them are actually inside the Inner Circle membership as well, by the way, but we'll get to that later, as I keep saying. Anyway, here it is. So let's go here and I'll show you the how low can you go mouthpiece drill. So the idea is that you've got a particular starting note for soprano, alto, tenor or baritone. You find that note on the piano. I know that you won't be able to hear my piano. Well, it's actually a Fender Rhodes, very loud. But for tenor sax, actually I think alto is an A, so I think it's more like a G, isn't it, for tenor? So first of all, you play that note. I played it in the wrong octave. And then you drop down in semitones and back. Then you drop down a tone. And you keep going down until you can't get the low note. Now, the gold standard is being able to play an octave on your mouthpiece. I just did an octave. And it's really good for your voicing. It's really good for your pitching. It's really good for your control. It's good for your air support. It's good for all sorts of things. Now, you can go lower and you can actually go a little bit higher. But be careful about going higher, because if you bite, it's quite hard to go higher on your mouthpiece. Much easier to go lower. So make sure you're not biting. Okay. I've got YouTube videos on all this stuff. So that is the exercise that I call how low can you go? And then after that, you can work on your tone using my mothership overtones tone matching exercise. Now, the way that you perform this is super important. So remember what I said before. Do exactly as I demo and describe in Total Tone Mastery. I shall now demonstrate for you the overtones. I call it the mothership exercise for overtones, which is going to develop your sound. Now, the key feature of this is that you try and make the normal fingering sound as fat as the overtone fingering. All right, so here's a quick demo. I'm only going to do a couple of cycles, but you play the low note, you let the overtone emerge. You play the normal fingering, and then you try and make that normal fingering sound like the overtone. You go back to the overtone as a reference, then the normal fingering, and then you kind of like chew stuff around with your voicing, experiment, trying to make that normal fingering as fat as you can. You can take a breath in the middle of these sort of switcheroos, and then you make sure that you're finished on the long fingering, and then drop it down to the fundamental overtone to finish. Okay, the way you practice it is important. Do not practice your overtones like this. All right, that's what everyone does. I say to people, are you doing the overtones tone matching? And they go, yeah. And I'm like, that's not the exercise. All right, here it goes. Do you know what's funny? It makes my nose itch. My voicing is so kind of expanded, and there's so much air and resonance that it kind of tickles my sinuses, like somebody's shaking my face. Well, something is shaking my face. It's the sound. That's how you do the overtones exercise, all right? Around about that speed as well. And when you're playing the normal fingering, you close your eyes, shut off your visual sense, and you just try and, like you're chewing a wasp, try and find the shape in your mouth which will maximize what that note sounds like. Cool. Come on, I get really itchy nose. All right, second part of your practice. I need to smash through this a bit faster. I did say I would. For the next 20% of your time, that would be 12 minutes if out of an hour, you'll focus on your technique, starting with scales, scale progressions, if you're more advanced. Now, remember, I've just already showed you how you practice your scales. I've got a YouTube playlist with instructions on how to practice your scales, along with companion videos for every, like a practice tool, for every major, minor, pentatonic, blues scale for alto and tenor, for E flat and B flat horns. They're all done in the, they're also inside the Inner Circle membership. Now, your scales should sound something like this, but the speed is irrelevant. It's the quality and accuracy of how you play them that's more important. You need to play them clean. Speed will come in good time. You must be relaxed and play with correct hand and body position. And the best way to do that is to practice in front of a mirror so you can see your hands. I'll stand up for you and I'll play a C sharp major scale. Hang on. I've got a foot switch to switch between vocal and sax mic. It's a bit hard to press. Simples, right? However, it would be just as valuable if you went Let me tell you what's not valuable. You're wasting your time so badly doing that, I'm telling you. All right, that's your technique. If you've still got time, you can work through my faster fingers exercise. This is a perfect time to work on some articulation drills from Phrase Like a Pro, some exercises from Total Tone Mastery, or some kind of technical study etude, or like a patterns exercise, something like that. The faster fingers exercise is, it's a brass player's thing, really. And it goes. And so it goes through the 12 keys, major and minor for each one. An example of, practicing patterns might be something like, that sort of thing, or that kind of thing. Technique. And I guess I should mention, shouldn't I, quickly? So no beaver paws. No beaver paws. You're not a beaver. You're a saxophonist. And no Tower Bridge. Fingers down. Keep your fingers curved, like you're holding two drinks, and relaxed, and keep them close to the keys. All right. And no duck beaks. No duck beaks. Okay? You don't need to press your fingertip down like this until you get a white knuckle. Your fingers are curved, relaxed. Your thumb is at 2 o'clock. All right? If your thumb is pointing, if your thumb's pointing down, you must be beaver pawing. All right? So your thumb is at the kind of 2 o'clock position as you look at it on the back. And your thumb is overlapping the thumb rest, right? Your thumb isn't on the thumb rest, and then you move it for the octave key. And also, your thumb does very little to press the key. You don't like rock and pivot your thumb like this. Lots of important things about technique. You can check out my videos for that. See the person that left because they were bored because they thought nothing was happening. See all the good stuff they're missing out on, eh? All right, but you guys are here. That's the important thing. That covers technique. All right. Right. All good. Right. Next is skills. Okay. 25%. So that would be 15 minutes out of an hour. That's something that's, you work on something that's a real weakness for you. It could be detailed phrasing from Phrase Like a Pro. It could be a technique from Total Tone. Something from your teacher, harmonics, altissimo, transposing. This can also include chord tones, practice for your improvising, or some other improv skills. As always, be patient, be kind. It's not going to happen today, but if you don't do it right today, it ain't going to happen in a week. And if you do it right today, you will see improvements in a week. Okay, Right, part number 4. This is repertoire, and this will take 35% of your session. That would be 21 minutes. See how precise this is? John is saying that this would be good information for any instrument other than sax. You're quite right, mate. Right, this would include material like any standards you're working on, songs for your band, tom play, material from your teacher, repertoire for an upcoming concert, learning new songs, all that kind of stuff. So there's crossover here with improvising. You might be working on improv for a specific song. Keep it focused though. Keep it focused. Have an objective instead of randomly blowing through any old thing and doing the same again. Right, now, I've got a bit of a spoiler alert for you, because later on I'm going to play Blue Bossa. Because I was like, what should I play? Might as well play Blue Bossa. So if you're practicing Blue Bossa, don't just noodle about, like work on the chord downs. Yada, yada, yada. So, like I said, keep it focused. All right. Let's move on. So, the last thing is 10% of your time, that would be 6 minutes out of an hour, is transcription. Not very long, 6 minutes, but super important. So remember, I said you can improve your rhythm and groove and phrasing. This is where the good stuff happens. Take something appropriate for your level and the genre that you like, and start working out what the saxophonist, or I guess for you guys across the pond, saxophonist, plays by ear. There's a whole multi-step process for transcribing. I've got a YouTube series, but even if you learn 3 or 4 notes, but you play them with the right phrasing and the right groove, you'll be making huge progress, all right? Now remember this. This is super important. A 1% daily compound improvement in your skill, just 1% a day, means that you'll be 100% better in just 10 weeks. That, my friends, is simple maths. Which somebody very close to me pointed out today. But any mathematician will tell you it's true. So a 1% daily improvement, 10 weeks, you're twice as good. How about that? Pretty amazing, right? So, on the transcription thing, maybe it would be useful if I just demonstrate how you transcribe a couple of notes. Ooh, I like Sonny Rollins. So let's do Sonny Rollins. Let's do St. Thomas. All right. And let's transcribe the first couple of notes of his solo. And I'll show you what you do. Okay. Here we go. Okay, maybe that's all you do in the 10 minutes. You just go. So you work out those notes, you copy the phrasing, you copy the feeling, you copy the timing, you do your best to copy the sound. Okay? And we all know what comes next. I can't remember what happens next, but I have transcribed the whole solo. So just a few notes with the right phrasing, with the right groove, can go a long way. 1% of a solo a day, 3 months, you've done the whole solo. All right. So now that we have covered, that takes care of what you practice, let's recap how all that feeds into the other benefits. Right. So there are those benefits again. You start with a focused mindset and you follow the practice plan. This will result in steady improvements in your tone, your technique, your repertoire, and your improvisation. And you do these things the way I've taught you, you'll be improving your phrasing and your groove along the way. Ta-da! So there you have it, a whistle-stop tour of how to improve faster on sax, how to transform yourself from a hairy caterpillar through a sax metamorphosis into a beautiful caterpillar. Like I said before, you can do it. And now you've got some solid info to start building your improvement on. Some of these things might seem deceptively simple, especially to those overthinkers, but trust the process and you will make improvements. Just don't try and reinvent the wheel yourself. Don't mug yourself. It's unlikely to work as well. There's a long established history of things, having results. Now, coming up, I'm going to be taking your questions. So get them ready, but hopefully you'll indulge me with a few extra thoughts before we get there. Anyway, all that stuff is how you can rock it like this weird lobster saxophonist that I have no clue why I chose. My good friend Barry, who is here in the chat, he thinks it's a moustached chili pepper. Anybody got any thoughts on what that creature is? Mind you, Barry's from San Diego, so he's probably off his nut, let's be honest. Anyway, armed with what you've learned today, I'm sure you could take everything we've covered here today and go out and put it into action and get results with your sax that you previously thought weren't possible. Just with the information we've covered today left on your own, you can make a go at this in a way most people will never be able to. And if that were your only option, it would be a worthy idea to pursue. But remember what I said about the 10x multiplier of community? What if there was another option that allowed us to, have a good go at this together? A chance to go deeper than we can in this one measly hour on one measly YouTube Live, connecting together for this one measly time. What if I took responsibility in your success and had an actual obligation to your income, to your, not your income, your outcome? I had an obligation to your outcome, which, by the way, could result in some extra income, funny enough. How do you think that would make things different with me on your dream team? And what if it doesn't, never mind me, what if it wasn't just me? What if you also had a community of like-minded sax enthusiasts to vibe with and help you out? People that understand your hobby and the geekiness that you love, so that when you say things to that person, like you try and say to your partner and they just give you that blank look, no. You say it and the people in the community are like, yeah, totally get it. That, my friend, is exactly why I created my beloved Inner Circle membership. And honestly, it is the best way I know to 10x your progress, to 10x the stuff you learned today, and keep making consistent improvements on your horn and to have accountability and new friends. So the Inner Circle membership is an online community of friendly sax fans, many of whom are here today in the chat, by the way, if you want to ask anything about it, where you can share your passion for saxophone and learn how to create your best ever performances. Very cool. Now, just by being here today, you've proven that you're someone that's more likely to succeed because you showed up. You showed up to learn, and you showed that you're someone who loves to take the opportunity to be a better version of yourself, and I love that. You'll fit right into the Inner Circle, unlike that person that left after 2 minutes and said it was boring. You're still here. You are committed. We've still got the Q&A coming up, but you've made it this far, so you obviously really care about your hobby and getting better. So with your permission, excuse me, I'll quickly give you a few more details about what you'll get as an Inner Circle member. We call them Innies, and why I've got something for you to say thank you for joining me today. So in the main content portal for the Inner Circle, what we call the rehearsal studio, you'll find all the videos, lessons and replays, and these will include the YouTube Backstage Pass. Now, this is an exclusive video that only Inner Circle get, which is a kind of bonus video, which is all the stuff I couldn't fit in your, your free YouTube videos. The extra fingerings, the kind of the insights, the stuff how you apply it, which you just don't have time for on YouTube, because YouTube's all edutainment. You've got to keep it moving. In the Inner Circle, you get the Backstage Pass, you get the good stuff. Then you have your inspirational solo of the month. This is the main monthly piece of content where I take a famous solo and break it down. I show you exactly what is happening. It's like peeling back, Oz's curtain. And I show you all the knobs and whistles and how those solos are played and why they sound so good. And more importantly, how you can take the lessons from those solos to improve your own playing. You've got a monthly live Q&A coaching session. You can come on Zoom, you can play for me, and I can help you with your problem. And people do that and really love it. And you can benefit from everyone else who asks questions, which, you probably want to know. You've got Access All Area Vlogs, video blogs, where I take my camera and I travel all around the world and all doing gigs. And you'll see backstage with me exactly what happens and how I do things and how you can learn from it. So super, super valuable. You don't get that anywhere else. You get, oh man, this is wicked. You get these guest sessions with some of the best saxophonists in the world. Thank you very much, Judy, by the way. And we have had mouthpiece whisperer Theo Wani going into a 90-minute geek out on mouthpieces. Anyone got a mouthpiece question? It's all answered in the Inner Circle already. Spoiler alert. We've also had Alex Hahn, Jack Tyler from the Boston Sax Shop, who makes mouthpieces himself and saxophones and reeds. These are the people who are on there, and we're asking all the questions. DJ Sax Star Yarden, Jeff Schneider, Sax by Tavon Pennicott from Gregory Porter's band, Lenny Pickett, guys, from Tower of Power and Saturday Night Live, Patrick Bartley, Mindy Abair, Alexa Tarantino, Nigel Hitchcock, and guess what? The one and only Ernie Watts. So, and many more, by the way. These are the kind of guests that we have on. And guess what? You can ask them anything you want. Super cool. And they're already there in the library for you to check out. Then, if you want to be a bit more focused, we got the Practice Dojo, where all the kind of, scales and methodical stuff and exercises and theory is all there for you, should you want it. However, there's no pressure. You're not graded. You're not streamed. All right. No, it's no competition, and you can be any standard you want. Right. Now, that's all in the content portal, but there's also the feed, the actual beating heart of the community, the backstage hangout, where you can geek out, share your wins or struggles, post questions for me or our guests, excuse me, comment and help other people and vibe out about the album of the month, as well as entering the monthly challenge, which is totally friendly. Not much of a challenge, it's just a bit of fun. And if you enter the challenge, you can win a free lesson with me. Pretty cool. And considering how much I charge for a lesson, believe me, that is very cool. If there's any innies in the chat right now, they'll tell you that I'm in there every day, interacting, encouraging, replying, posting. It's a very cool place to be. I'm 100% present. And it's one click between the rehearsal studio content and the community. No separate confusing logins, no clickbait, and no distractions like you get on Facebook, whatever. We pay for the platform so that you don't have to pay for it with your attention with targeted ads, clickbait, and random haters in your feed. It's a pristine land of ad-free saxophone heaven, guys. It really is. So actually, what I thought I would do, I had not planned to do this, but I am actually going to do this. I thought I'll give you a quick, unboxing, let you, see behind the scenes. So hang on for 1 second while I just dial this up. Dial it up, my friend. Okay, yeah, I think that'll do. Share my screen. Right, there you go. So, congratulations. You've just joined the Inner Circle. You're in. So, here is the main feed. And up here you can see the pinned posts, which has got the Backstage Pass video, album of the month. Every month I have a featured album, the featured blog. There's the latest replay of our guest session, which was with Theo Wane. There is the replay of the last coaching session. There's a little welcome thing, and you can see that I'm posting, other people are posting. That's Phil, who had a lesson with me today. It's not dogs and cats, by the way. There's Stephen, who visited the old Selma factory and the Babbitt factory. Very cool. So there's all stuff like that. If you go to challenges, there is a monthly challenge, okay? This one is on Body and Soul, Coleman Hawkins. And when you go into it, you'll see that there's a bunch of people who have entered there, and they will all go on a wheel and go to be entered into a draw to win a free lesson with me. Very cool stuff. All the events are in there. Yeah. Now, the cool thing is there's direct links from here straight to the content in the portal. By the way, one benefit I never even told you about is that all my YouTube videos are in here categorized, so you can find them instantly. All my 300 and something, well, more than that, loads. They're all in here. So if you want to find stuff about technique, do you remember I talked about all the technique stuff? All the videos I've made about technique are in one place. Oh my God. No more surfing around YouTube trying to find my videos. Here's all the content, all the things that I already told you about. For example, the inspirational solo of the month, Coleman Hawkins, and you can see that, you know, I go through it in detail, and I teach you how to play the solo. So that's all the content, and guess what? There's some absolutely awesome bonuses, like my whole book about reeds and mouthpieces, loads of pads from West End shows, hundreds of horn charts, tutorials, masterclasses, all that stuff that, you know, disappears out in the normal world, lives here in the inner circle for you to enjoy. And then if you want to go back to the community, bang, one button, baby, and you are back. And you want to go back to the content, bang, one button. You want to go back to the community, bang, one button. Facebook, be gone. How cool is that? I really wasn't going to show you any of that. So there you go. You got a little special there. Now then, I've actually got someone else pretty cool. If I can just keep my tech flowing at the moment. Right, there we go. Okay, that's that. It's always a bit of like a production this end, my end. Right, now, why not hear it from the horse's mouth? You know, tell you what, before I give you my special thank you offer, let's hear from the actual innies for a minute or two. I mean, who cares about what I say, right? Let's get it from the horse's mouth. Don't worry, guys, I don't really think you're horses, but why don't we hear it from some of the innies who are in there? It's just a couple of minutes, and I love watching this. It really makes me feel fluffy, so I hope you'll indulge this and enjoy it.
So I've played for a long time, but unfortunately my ability doesn't match the years.
So I feel like I'm kind of in the intermediate level now. Good enough to impress my friends, but not but we sax players know what's going on.
So my playing was getting better. I'd taken your 2 courses, but I knew that I could do more.
Because I knew that I would have an environment to talk about my sax challenges and my sax improvement plans.
I have watched quite a few of your videos that you've done on YouTube in the past. It was a good offer. I thought, well, you know, that's you know, within my budget, it's doable, it's a sensible amount for me. When I looked as well into the course, it didn't seem overwhelming.
I'm the kind of person who needs encouragement.
Your content is unique.
I liked you, Jamie.
That I would not have time to use it fully.
That you're going to join something like this and be surrounded by like genius level 10 saxophone players.
Worried about sharing my little foibles. There's lots of people sharing their foibles, which is great because it just makes everybody more confident to do the same. You learn so much from that because there's honesty and trust. You just can't get that from more generic communities.
It's just that I was gonna waste a couple $100. My fears were unwarranted.
And that it wouldn't be quite as in-depth as I was hoping for. And it is.
To be honest, your responses and the fact that you do, it's actually more that you do respond. The number one thing that makes me happy is reading your comments on not only mine, but everyone else's, because I can learn from from your comment about someone else's performances.
Probably the community, just the flow of conversations. You can feel it. There's camaraderie, and it's a nice, warm, safe feeling when you're in the community. But that is the key that I was hoping would be really good, and it is lovely.
Getting access to my hero, my alive greatest saxophone, Ernie Watts, and having the chance to ask him a question, I mean, I just floored completely.
I am making more of a commitment to my own playing because I am motivated to pick up the saxophone.
Really immersing myself in whatever that solo of the month is and trying to get the rhythms, the phrasing, the articulation, the style, the sound has been awesome.
Push myself a little bit more with regards to the type of music and with regards to the type of playing I will do on my saxophone when I'm rehearsing.
Like sometimes I'm now listening back to my improv and I'm going, I did not know I did that. And it's new because I've been listening and trying to study and bring those things under my fingers.
Having a community like this, for me personally, has helped me start to think, actually, I'm going to be a lot more spirited about getting out there and making sure I'm sharing what I'm doing.
If you think it's fun from the outside, it is. Just do it.
Expect to learn to figure out what's in the secret sauce.
But it does make me feel part of something, which before I did not.
Get off the fence, join, and you'll get loads out of it. Speaking, if you want, on a daily basis to people who have the same level of passion as yourself. And it puts you in a nice little warm, fuzzy zone when you're sitting in a spare room.
Unquestionably do it. You can get so much from it that you cannot get through even one-to-one teaching.
If you want to progress with your saxophone playing, you'll make a big difference to it by joining the inner circle.
Take away the fact that I'm picking up the saxophone more because I'm in the inner circle. I don't know how else to say it. Yes, do it. Yeah, do it now.
Thanks for everybody who did that. Honestly, I was really hesitant to set up the inner circle because I thought it'd be a drain on my time. I thought it'd be a hassle. I could not have been more wrong. Genuinely, it's one of the best things in my life, interacting with all you guys. It's so special. It's so cool. So thank you for watching the video there, and all the iddies who contributed to that video. And to say thank you for you guys for coming today. I put together a really special offer. You knew this was coming, and it's a no-brainer price. It's only available for a short time, so make sure you jump in while it's open, because today might as well be the day that you commit to having more fun whilst getting unstuck on your horn. So you want to go to gettingsaxtogether.com/inner circle. The link will be in the description, and hopefully one of my lovely assistants will also post it in the comments right now. I mean, if not now, when? So today might as well be the day that you commit to having more fun. If you don't take action now, or you haven't got it scheduled in your diary, you almost certainly won't ever do it. In a year's time, you'll be stuck with the same sound, playing those same 3 songs the same way. That's what everyone comes to me in lessons and says. I always just end up playing the same 3 songs. The funny thing is, you're always choosing. It's just that by not acting now, you're actually choosing to stay stuck exactly where you are. It's going to cost you less than a coffee every 3 days, even it's a joke. Less than a pint a week. in London. Believe me, less than a box it reads, and you'll have more confidence, more opportunities, a new playing reality, and you can even get some extra income, by the way, guys. So this is my thank you. The special offer is at the link you can see there. Check out the link in the description, and we are going to move on to the Q&A. I can't wait to see you inside the inner circle. All right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to flick over the link there so that you know it's there. Right, who has got any questions? I deliberately put the chat on like fast. You know, I should get the questions faster than usual, basically. Normally I'm waiting for ages for the questions. So let's see. I'll tell you what I forgot to do before the Q&A. Because the questions sometimes take a while to come through, this is what I'm going to do. I promised I would play for you. I'm going to play for you first, then I'll take your questions, and that gives you a minute to kind of think what you want to ask me. You can ask me anything you want. Imagine that. How cool is that? Okay, let me grab my headphones because I'm going to play Blue Bossa for you. And let's see what happens, shall we? Where's my backing track? The better track is from Jay's Better Tracks. So let's see what happens. I'll give it my best shot, guys. I'm not really in like playing mode. I need to like get in the zone. I'm going to move this camera down a little bit as well. All right. Let me just flick this pedal so that it's permanently on. Right, see the other side. right, give myself a round of applause. It's a bit of a pathetic round of applause, that, isn't it? But there we go. All right. Time for Q&A, folks, while I get my gas back after that. Whoops. Okay. Quite a lot of blowing there. Okay, dogs. Let's back it up to here. Now, if you asked a question before, before earlier in the session, post it again, because I'm only going to do these ones, the recent ones. Okay. Jerry is asking, Jerry S. Ta-da! That's a really cool feature. What's the best way to learn how to double tongue? I don't really know, because I'm not an expert at double tonguing. I do know that you don't really double tongue. You tongue one note and then you put your tongue in the roof of your mouth to get a t-k. So the sort of double bit of the tongue is the k. So it's more like a tongue-k, tongue-k, tongue-k. Sometimes another way of doing it is like flicking your tongue on the end of the reed. And also there's like this stutter tongue thing that you hear Charlie Parker do. And I don't really know how to do any of them, but good question, love it. Okay, that's nice. Ed is saying, thank you, Jamie, for your experience, knowledge, expertise, and super attitude. Thank you very much, Ed. I appreciate you. I appreciate you down there in Savannah, GA. Where's GA? Georgia, right? Okay, Chris Leary is asking, as a beginner, is there a metal mouthpiece that would be a good one to upgrade to? It seems like all beginner mouthpieces are plastic. Well, most people don't play metal mouthpieces on alto. I mean, most people. Especially beginners struggle on metal mouthpieces on alto. I find it that on tenor, metal mouthpieces are easier. If you are going to go to a sort of basic metal mouthpiece, why don't you just try a good old-fashioned Autolink Super Tone Master? It won't be, vintage Florida Link like this, unless you want to shell out about $1,000. But apparently, Jim Cheek at sax.co.uk tells me that they're trying to really up their game in Autolink with how well finished the mouthpieces are. So check them out. That's my answer, Autolink. All right, Rolando. What's the best electronic setup and settings for a lively, warm sound? Do you mean live? Do you mean for YouTube? Obviously, you want to get a good mic. I've got this dynamic MD441 mic by Sennheiser because it's just a good all-rounder. But I've also got a really good ribbon mic in the cupboard. Ribbon mics are really nice and warm, but you do have to, brighten them up around about this 7 to 10K area because they're a bit kind of dark. So there you go. There's a couple of things. Right. Okay, Jane is asking, how do I work on voicing? Right. Loads of exercises on voicing in my Total Tone Master course, but one way of working on voicing is overtones. Another way of working on voicing is with the mouthpiece drill that I taught you. There's another way of working on voicing, which is an exercise where first of all you play palm key D and then C sharp and then D, just normal fingerings. And then you play the D and you try and bend it down to the C sharp just using your throat. Then you go down to C. So I'm playing it normal fingerings. Now you go D, B, D, and then you do the same thing, only fingering a palm key D. First of all, normal fingerings. Now only holding a palm key D. So I was playing a B flat there with a palm key D fingering. I wasn't too happy, but it was there. I can't get an A with a palm key D fingering today. Maybe if I had a harder read. So that's a good way of working on voicing. Right, there's some good ways of working on voicing. Right. Rolando's saying reverb, chorus, looping. Yeah, they're all good. I've got a looper pedal that I used to use sometimes. Chorus, not such a classic sound for saxophone. Makes the intonation sound a bit weird. Right. Blue Rhythm Boy is asking, I struggle to project in a blues band but can't keep bigger tip openings, metal and high baffle mouthpieces in tune reliably. I'm most comfortable on a six-star ebonite rollover baffle. What should I do? Stick with your 6-star ebonite rollover baffle, or look into why you can't keep in tune, because it might be to do with your voicing. You know, that might be, it's probably not the mouthpiece that's the problem. It's that these mouthpieces with high baffles and stuff, they're much harder to control. So if there's a flaw in your voicing and your air support and your embouchure, that's going to come out more. This is a good one. How to improvise. Make it up as you go along. By Total Tone Mastery, because it takes you from 0 to hero, literally. I mean, I'm not just plugging it for the sake of it, but if your question is how to improvise, take Improvisation Mastery. There you go. Right, Melanie Taylor. Good name, that name of my wife. Not Melody Taylor, Melody Anderson. Struggling with altissimo. I can play altissimo and alto, but not on tenor. That's unusual because normally altissimo is easier on tenor. By the way, if you guys were in the inner circle, you could ask me this on Zoom and I could get you to play for me and I could teach you as we go and say, right, try this, finger that, do this. But on a comment, I don't know what to do. That's why the inner circle is so cool. If you can do it on alto, not tenor. Okay. All right. Well, altissimo in general, there's a couple of different ways of going about it. Some of the hardest notes on altissimo are the very first ones, like G and G sharp are very difficult. So one way that you can practice doing altissimo is trying to just do a complete squeak, right? So finger like your front key only and see what squeaks you can get. And that should, I bet you any money that if you just try and squeak on tenor, you can get really high notes. That proves that you can play altissimo on tenor. And then you just need to work on refining. I call it going into the attic from the chimney instead of the loft hatch. Okay, get some really high squeaky ones and then work your way down rather than trying to get up to like a G or a G sharp or an A, which is actually more difficult. Sorry, I can't do better. If you were there in front of me, I would be able to help you much better. Right, Nick. During a longish practice session, my reed mouthpiece gets waterlogged, heavy, and I lose tone and volume. Is there a simple way to dry it off and get back to the tone you enjoy at the start of a session? You could rotate your reeds. You could use synthetic reeds which don't get waterlogged. I know that's not answering the question. A friend of mine who is a top session saxophonist gets a credit card and puts it between his mouthpiece tip and reed and very gently like just prise it a little bit to give him a little bit more oomph. I guess you could take the reed off and like wipe it. That's my best suggestion on that one. What's the best way to memorize all the scales in the fastest and most efficient way? Well, I don't think there is a best way. I just think there's slow, patient, consistent practice. There's no. Okay, so this is actually quite an interesting question because everybody wants a cheat code, right? There's no cheat code. Guitar. There's no cheat code. You just got to be patient and do the hard work. Probably not what you want to hear, but it's the truth. Does neuroscience play a role in any of your strategies? Has Dr. Molly Gebion been influential? No, I don't know who that is. I'll check him out. I guess neuroscience has been a little bit influential. Sure. I'm not like a massive neuroscience nerd, but yeah, sure. Love Supreme. That must have been when I was quoting Love Supreme. Okay, Martin. How do you advise beginners to stop blowing, which causes mega tension in the neck and jaw area? Don't know what that means. See if you can clarify for me. I actually try and advise beginners to blow more. All right, Chris Leary. I have an okay tone on alto, but when I try tenor, I keep getting unwanted overtones. What am I doing wrong from alto to tenor? Well, the overtone series is different on tenor. I would say that the overtones are more likely to, pop out than an alto. Just that's why I was confused about the altissimo, because altissimo, bit my tongue, altissimo is generally a bit easier in tenor, in my opinion. It's all about voicing. A lot of people, enthusiasts, hobby players like switching all the time between different horns. I don't advise it. I would just stick to one until you can get a bit of mastery going. It is hard switching from alto to tenor, I'll say that. The hardest switch, in my opinion, is from alto to tenor. The easiest switches are from soprano to tenor. That's why it's such a classic double. And alto to baritone is okay as well. Something to do with the transposition, I don't know. But alto to tenor are just similar enough that it's a problem and different enough for that to be a problem. Okay. That's Barry, who thinks that a lobster is a chili. So nice one. Here's another proper Barry. Is it normal or to be disappointed with recordings dull and lifeless when it sounds so different when you're playing? Yeah, totally normal to be I'm disappointed with everything I've ever recorded, mate. If I listen back to this and listen back to Blue Bossa, I'd be a bit like, so that is normal, yeah. Flutix sax, that's an interesting screen name. Vibrato on sax has a different technique than on flute, yep. Can I use the diaphragm technique on sax? Now, I advise not to. Let's have a little listen now, because I'm all about innovation, because I play flute as well, badly. Here is a sort of flute diaphragm vibrato. I'll try. All right. Now here is a normal vibrato. In my opinion, it doesn't sound as good. That's why nobody does it. I also think that you only do it in flute because that's your only option. Maybe you can bend the pitch a bit. I don't know. Okay. Sorry. That was just Ron answering a previous question. Yay, Carlos. There's an Inner Circle regular for you. What a legend. Right. That sax is setting on fire, baby. Let's go. Right. Okay. Cedar Moon says that last note sounded like the kettle was boiling. That was a high E. Yeah. Right. Tony, is there a good way to teach myself how to tongue? I'm extremely new, wannabe 6-year-old player, so maybe mad to take up sax at my age, but you're definitely not. Oh, hang on. Is this a 6-year-old or a 60-year-old? Either way, you're not mad to take it up. If you're 6 years young, great. If you're 60 years young, great. You're definitely not. In fact, there's Loads of people in the inner circle over, 70, probably over 80. Don't worry about it. I wouldn't try and teach yourself how to tongue, though. I would get my... Honestly, it's like I'm constantly plugging stuff, but I would get my Phrase Like a Pro course because it teaches you exactly how to tongue. And one of the biggest flaws that you see in self-taught people is with articulation. It ends up, your tongue moves around too much, you affect the voicing, and you get fuzzy. If you do it wrong, you get fuzzy, kind of smudgy articulation, and you get squeaks, and you get that wow kind of sound. So I wouldn't try and teach yourself. Actually, you don't need to get Phrase Like a Pro. I'm sure I've got some YouTube videos on it. Right. Rolf was saying that almost every trick and gimmick is in. At least there's a smiley face. I'm not sure if I take that as a compliment or a diss. Right. Jerry's asking about double tonguing. I think I covered that. Right. Tony's saying 61, not 6 foot. I'm 6 foot. Can I learn saxophone? When it worked for me, I'm 6 foot. 61. That's nothing, Tony. Absolutely nothing. I'll be 60 in 10 years. Okay, would you advise to practice scales slurred or tongued? I'd advise to practice them slurred so that you can hear any imperfections in your finger technique. I didn't put it on screen, sorry. That is from Violaine. Did I say that right? Slurred. But if you want to practice your articulation, you can practice tongued. But for the purposes of technique, you want to practice your scales slurred so that you can hear any imperfections in your finger technique. Bruno, I like a lot your mood. I like a lot your comment. Thank you very much. All right, Ron. Oh, he's just got... Ron's like commenting on everybody. Thanks, Ron. Okay. ACAR Montreal. Andre from Canada, thinking about Inner Circle, but beginner, not even able to cope with all your great exercises. So thinking about subscribing when a bit better. Yeah, I mean, if you're utter beginner, Inner Circle probably won't be for you. But once you kind of get past, the notes and you're a bit better, yeah, definitely. But you don't have to be like really good or anything like that. Okay, Keita already... Oh, it's Zoe. Zoe already asked that. No shortcuts, Zoe. No shortcuts. Alrighty. Stephen Bark. Can I learn to improvise without learning the scales? No. All right. Actually, before I get to Jerry's, I know I'm being a bit facetious. People, I'm not picking on. I'm honestly not picking on Stephen. I'm not picking on you, Stephen. I promise you. This is everybody. Everybody wants a shortcut. Okay. It's natural. We all want a shortcut. How can I learn the scales without learning the scales? How can I learn to improvise without learning how to improvise? You got to do the hard work. You got to do the hard work. If you want to improvise, learn your scales, mate. Zoe, if you want to learn your major scales memorize them. Sorry, not making myself popular, but you just got to do it. The hard work. Nothing of any substance comes with from a shortcut. Okay, Jerry S. Sorry about that rant, but it is true. I'm here as your teacher, as your mentor, to give you the hard facts. There's no shortcuts. Do the work. Okay, Jerry S. Best way to start a solo in the style of any tune? Of the tune. Best way to start a solo in the style of the tune. Any tune. That's another way of saying that you have to learn to play in the style of any tune, and the best way of doing that is to transcribe solos. Sorry if I misunderstood the question. Jean, I'm currently stuck on transposing, trying to work out how to use the free version of any tune on iPad. I don't know, free version I've got any tune. I don't think I've got a free version, so I don't know about that. If the secret of transposing is to kind of understand the shape of the phrase that you're trying to transpose within the key, and then move that sort of shape to the next key. So if you understand that the lick goes ba ba da da da, 1 2 3 4 5, you just go to the next key. That's kind of why solfege is so cool. I don't know why nobody does it. Well, loads of people do it. I don't do it. Charlie, is there any benefit to playing both alto and tenor? Yeah, for sure, but I would focus on one. Best study to be in tune. Okay, well, there's not really a specific study to be in tune, but in a very general sense, I encourage people to tune sharp and blow flat and use your voicing to tune. Don't keep moving your mouthpiece in and out, and don't try and tune with your lip. There you go, general thing about tuning, but there's not like one specific exercise for tuning. Thanks, Rishios, gotta go. How do you get the airiness that happens at the beginning of notes? I guess you just don't tongue, and you can put some air and kind of hiss and spit into the horn before you play. So I'm actually not going to put my pedal on just for a minute. So you can kind of go, then you blow the note. But most of the time you do want a crisp attack. It depends if you want to sound like Lester Young or Coleman Hawkins playing a ballad, or, you know, Mike Brecker playing with the Brecker Brothers. It's all stylistic, I guess. But that's how you do it. You can also make the breath noise louder by kind of hissing through the mouthpiece, like... because the air itself won't be that noisy. But instead of going, you go... That's how you can get some extra breathy noise. Have I ever shared that? That could be a world exclusive. Right. Okay. How many more have I got to go? Zoe might end up in the circle. See you there. And I'll tell you off again for trying to get shortcuts. Right. Right. Here we go. Is embouchure for soprano sax different from tenor? Okay. That's a good question. I'm of the opinion that all the embouchures for the saxes are the same, but because of the additional pressure needed to play soprano, your embouchure will inevitably be tighter, but you shouldn't be trying to make it tighter. You can have all the embouchures the same. I don't think about changing my embouchure for any of the horns. Let's put it that way. Okay. Memorizing scales. Maybe not trying to memorize, but to understand how they're built in intervals. Well, a major scale is in numbers of semitones. 2 2 1, 2 2 2 1. That's the number in intervals. Okay, Paul's asking, why do you think altissimo is easier on alto than tenor? I don't. I think altissimo is easier on tenor than alto, because the overtones come out easier. The easiest altissimo is baritone, funnily enough. Okay, saxon to the oldies. I play a 49 big B alto and seem to get a much better tone and intonation than a modern horn like a Yamaha. Should I make the switch or keep fighting the vintage horn? Make sure I've read that. I play a big B alto and seem to get a much better tone and intonation. Oh, you get a much better tone and intonation on a modern horn like a Yamaha. But if you get a better tone and better intonation, play the modern horn, man. It's a no-brainer, right? Right, another one from Zoe. I've tried to get an altissimo G my alto 1 3 1 3. Yeah, 1 3 1 3. I tried changing tongue position, reed singing, but it won't come out. Well, I'll tell you what. Join the inner circle. Come with the Q&A, and we'll get you sorted. When I improvise, I play what I hear in my head. Is that okay? 100% Nathan. However, let me give you this disclaimer. If you improvise what you hear in your head, it's definitely okay, but how much can you hear in your head? If you can only improvise what you can hear in your head, What if there's stuff that you didn't know and can't hear? Interesting question, that. How do you... Okay. Oh, yeah, this one from Martin again. Yeah, you have to explain that. Maybe he will further down. Are you going to run more live workshops? The one in January was great. Yeah. I'm just going to take in stock on that one. But yeah, I definitely will, because it was absolutely wicked. Right. AG, where can one find 80s rock sheet music with sax solos? Don't know, but I've got transcriptions of almost every famous 80s and rock sax solo on my channel. When are you coming to play? Okay, this is from Kay. Stella, when are you coming to play in Ibiza? Would love to see you here. Oh man, yeah. Don't know. Would love to. I have played in Ibiza over the years. I've played in like Manumission. I've played in Pasha. I've played in quite a few big super clubs in back in the day. Right. Ed Callie's vibrato is from Diaphragm. Cool. Well, each to their own, right? Horses for courses. If it works and it sounds great, do your own thing. I'm all about that. Okay. Okay, this is a good one. Mary's asking, how do I remove the white coating on the outside of my mouthpiece? That is actually, I believe, something like plaque. And it's actually very difficult to remove. What you don't want to do is get a bunch of abrasive sandpaper and try and get it off. Somebody said once to me to try, you know that stuff that you clean false teeth with? So try that. But if it's a ebonite mouthpiece, be careful because they're really easy to like stain. Right. CC? CC. Loving it. Thanks for the inspiration. I saw a recent YouTube. You said tenor is better sax to be a beginner on than alto. Yeah, I believe that. So is it easier to go from tenor to alto? Is it easier to go from tenor to alto? No. I don't think it's very easy going from tenor to alto. It's probably easier going from alto to tenor, I would say, but it's easier to start on tenor. Does that make sense? I hope so. All right, how to growl on sax from Chi Yuv Yug Gov Yuv Guy You've 7 I bet you thought I wasn't going to read it out. This is how you growl. There are 3 ways. A quick bit of nostalgia, actually. I had this VHS saxophone tuition video when I was a kid, and it was about how to. It was this rock and roll sax player. I wish I could remember his name. VHS, which is a good point. Back in the day, if you wanted to learn how to do stuff, you had to like buy a VHS tape or find somebody to teach you. That's how I learned. Now you got the inner circle. You got me right here telling you exactly how to do it. How cool is the modern world? 3 ways. Number 1, roll your tongue in the top of your mouth. That is a very strong growl that you get in rock and roll. And if you do it, you can't articulate at the same time because your tongue's in the roof of your mouth. The most common way is to hum a note at the same time. You don't hum the note you're playing because otherwise it doesn't really work. And you can vary the amount of growl. There's actually another way of growling, that's maybe lightheaded, called the uvula method. You know, the uvula is a little dangly bit at the back of your throat that you see in cartoons. And you can kind of gargle like Zelda. Who remembers Zelda? I hate doing that one. It really tickles and hurts my throat. All right. Right. Teresita. Oh, hey. How's life up north? Good to see you, Tess. I have a problem with my middle C. It sounds floppy and flat. Yes, just a duff note, innit? I don't know if you can get to see a repair person up where you are, but you know, it is a rubbish note. Check its ceiling right. Check the sax's ceiling right for a start. Right. Who was it? Alex Garnett told me that Brantford plays a middle C with a different finger. What finger could it be? Can't remember what he said, but we went to see Brantford at the Barbican and we were front row and he's like, he's playing his C differently. Maybe he was just doing side C all the time, like a B and the side C. That's a much better C, but hard to get to. AG. In heavy metal, many songs are in E minor, so I only know that scale there to improvise. That was me when I used to be in R&B bands and everyone was playing in E. When I have another tuning, then I go to Fretastic and look up the fingering, but I don't memorize it. And your question is... right. So, how many more questions have I got? Are we, you know, I know I've been going epically long. It's almost 2 hours, but I don't care. I'm all here for you, man. I'm just going to stay on until literally everybody's left the live. Right. Okay, so ACAR Montreal. Thanks for the answer. You know, most scales, you can play some solos. Now altissimo, not great tone. Oh, you're definitely ready. Yeah, 100%. Right. How do you keep? Gina's asking. How to keep saliva and that wet sound tamped down? Okay, I think that a lot of people get a spitty wet sound because they're not blowing hard enough and you're not clearing the water from your mouthpiece, and probably combined with a narrow tip opening. That's my latest theory on spittiness. I like spittiness. I like it, creating spittiness. Okay, so rephrased question from Martin. How to avoid tension in the jaw throat area? Well, you have to make sure that your shoulders are relaxed because these muscles here are all connected. The thingy mastoids. I've forgotten the posh name for them now. Clernomastoids or something. They're all connected to your neck. So if your shoulders are relaxed, that makes it easier for your neck to relax. You also just, have to make sure that your face is relaxed and your hands are relaxed. And then the rest of you should be relaxed. And, don't clench your throat. Just, let it all out. And yeah, if you're biting with your jaw, you're more likely to have tension. Whereas if you have more like just goldfish, drop your jaw, like playing saxophone should be effortless. Right, Blue Rhythm Boy. Is puffing cheeks a no-go for embouchure? Your fish embouchure video changed my life, by the way. Thanks very much. You are so welcome. Puffing your cheeks out. Right, I'm going to do something on this one day because I've noticed that the best players do puff their cheeks out, but not like... There's a thing that we do, I say we, like pro players. There's a thing we do with a bit of cheek puff. And I'm going to work it out. And I'm going to bring it to you. Puffing your cheeks doesn't really... I don't know. I'm going to get back to you on that. I'm going to work it out. That's my mission. All right. Your energy and contagious. Your energy and attitude are contagious. Thank you for being a great influence. You're so welcome. My pleasure. We're all in it together, right? We're all the sax community together. Okay, there's an answer. Charlie has said that white vinegar will remove plaque without staining. There you go. See, this was like in the inner circle, right? You get people together and everybody can help each other. It's so cool. Like, I can't tell you how much I've learned from being in the inner circle. It's been amazing. Right, I'm trying to pick people who haven't kind of asked a question because now I'm trying to move it on a little bit. Right, okay. I actually like playing alto for house music because it kind of cuts. But all my famous like house solos are on tenor. Like We All Love Sax, Tim Deluxe. That's me. That's on tenor. A few others. The one I played you earlier on Love Story versus Finally with Tim Deluxe. That's on tenor. Okay, right. Panayotis Skifas. No, Skifastas. Butchered it. Good evening, Jamie and people. An coveted question to be answered. How much money does a professional player normally make? Does it matter if he performs on classic or jazz saxophone? I don't mind answering the question, but it's very variable. I did a jazz gig at my local tennis club the other day. I made £165. I have done gigs in the past for £0. When I was a student, I drove up and did gigs from London to Birmingham for £10. I think the most I've ever been paid for one gig was like £5,000 or something, but that is unheard of. If I did a very posh, expensive, high-end, function gig, I would probably be getting somewhere between £400 and £700. If I went to, I guess, I don't know, if I played for, the thing is, you think that playing for a famous pop star would be really, really well paid, but it's not always the way. Usually it's doing wedding gigs and things that pay the most. So I don't know. I would say that if you're a pro saxophonist and you're kind of battling a little bit to make ends meet, you might be on 40 grand a year. And if you're a top saxophonist in the world, you're crushing it, you're probably on more like $1 million by the time you've got all your royalties. So it's a huge range, right? Right. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to hand pick because we're coming up on 2 hours, and I'm done. All right. Puffing cheeks for circular breathing. Yeah, you have to puff your cheeks to circular breathe. Watch my video on that. Can you do another one of these lives and share the recording? No, I cannot do another one of these lives. I only do this now inside the inner circle. This is a one-off. I do this every month inside the inner circle. So no, I'm not going to do another live, but I will share the recording of this one. It's the same link, but I might not share it for very long, but it will be permanently available inside the inner circle. There you go. Right, I'm just scanning. Okay. You can see the comments. I'm reading the comments. All right, I'm at the bottom. Brilliant. Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Larry and Lucy, who are my two awesome team members for the Inner Circle. They've been doing a marvellous job. Love you guys. All right. Hey, I'm done, man. I'm done. I'm done. So, WDK Lab. If you post your question right now and it comes up before I've done my closing thing, I'll answer it. I've had to skip a few questions, but join the inner circle and you'll get all your questions answered. So, thanks for sticking with me. If you stuck with me for the whole thing, if you've been watching the replay and you've got this far, then kudos to you. I hope you've learned something. We learned how you practice, what you practice. We've learned how the details matter. We've learned how to apportion your time. Yeah. And I hope you've learned a lot. It's been a lot of fun for me. I might go and pour myself a nice drink now, I think I've earned it. What do you reckon? Whoop, whoop. Seriously, I am very, very passionate about the inner circle, and I'm very keen on how it can help you. We'd love to see you in there. Everybody's super friendly. It's a great place to improve. And although, you know, I'm pitching the membership, I truly believe every single word I'm saying. I truly believe it. I'll say it 100 times. I don't care. Right. I'm kind of half watching the chat, but yeah. I think I'm not gonna. Oh, okay, right. I did promise. But join the inner circle anyway. Okay, WTD Lab. My question is how to connect ideas together to make a natural sounding solo rather than a forced and contrived one. I practice licks and other stuff, but when it's time to solo, they all sound disjointed. Well, you could practice doing. I was just giggling at the chat. You could practice doing melodic motifs instead of just different licks, okay? So you want to play something and then play it again and then play something different to go with it, all right? So I'm just going to give you like a really instant example and then I'm out of here. Here we go, right. So first of all, I'm going to play something. Now again. All right, so I played something, I played it again, and then I played something different to go with it. Or you could play something else, play the same thing again, and then play something else. These are the motivic ways that you can make your solo sound cohesive. Here we go. I can't be bothered putting my headphones on. See what I mean? Or you could take one of your favorite licks and then work it into something else. There you go. There's a there's a little bonus answer to you. So thank you so much for sticking with me. Go and find the link in the description. I explain everything about what's in the inner circle and how much it is. And I love you all. Practice hard. Practice smart. Enjoy your music. And now I'm trying to find the right button to get out of here. Thanks again, everyone. Take it easy and hopefully see you inside the ICM.